Okay.
All right. And while you're getting that
Yeah,
set
I
up,
got it.
I'll go ahead and let me know when you're in. But for now, I'll just go ahead and narrate where we're at here. So we're starting out here, Game 3 of the Pinky and the Brain tournament in Group B between Team TFA and Team Pinky and the Brain. So Mealsolutions and Tristan and Pinky and the Brain on the north. Tristan in the yellow, Mealsolutions in the teal. Bottom left, we have Mr. Family Friendly himself, Knobgobbler. And we have the therapist on the bottom right, BTU Jorne, for those who played this game ages ago. So this is definitely one of the power teams in the tournament to watch out for. Knob was our most recent TA tournament champion, and Jorne has won his fair share of tournaments, 20 years ago. And so he's got a wealth of experience and is an excellent player. The only thing that can defeat him is his own pride. Certainly beatable, but very, very tough to do. So the North team has themselves TFA. They have their work cut out for them on this one. Particularly, I like to watch Mealsolutions here because he has figured out how to do really, really well on this map. So I'm interested to see if that translates into the 2v2 game. Or if there's some sneaky rush kind of strategy that the Team TFA is going to have from the south. So, all right, are you in? I got my time at 1 second.
Yeah, so this map is kind of interesting just because there's the metals on the corners, right? And so it's kind of like a metal map. I mean, would you consider this a metal map,
I
or
do.
how would you?
You play this like a metal map.
Okay.
So cons are absolutely massive. The whole exponential effects of early construction units 100% applies. So there's lots of things to keep in mind. All right.
Okay, I did finally. I think I had an older version of Sim Corners and I had to delete it
Ah,
and download the new one. So I am finally able to launch the replay. So I am at 2 seconds, and you just let me know when you
yep.
want to start.
We'll go 3, 2, 1, start. All right. So, all right. I'm gonna keep saying all right till something happens. uh, 3 wins from Mr. Family Friendly. More metal here from Jorne. 3 wins and 3 wins for the team Pinky and the Brain in the north.
Yeah, so if you played this map, would you choose armor core, and then would you start vehicles first or K-bot?
I'm the wrong person to ask that because the answer for me is always core. I played core in OTA even when core was terrible compared to ARM.
Okay.
I am
So,
the
so would you
last
would
the
you go
last core
vehicles
commander.
first here? Because
Um,
Mealsolutions is going. In fact, it looks like everyone going K-bot, which
everyone
is
going K-bot.
surprising. A
So
little surprising.
it's typical for people to go K-bot here. If you want to play more aggressive, you go vehicle and you crank out some flashes. If you want the ability just to build, and it more has to do with, I think, how fast you can get the construction K-bots
Right.
out, how many of them you can crowd around a factory, the fact that they're a little more nimble and maneuverable. Construction vehicles, they take a little time to get out of the factory, and those seconds add up, especially in a map like this where before in a less resource map, if you take a second to get out of your factory, it's not a huge deal. Because in the meantime you build up resources before you spend them all again. Whereas here, you need to be spending everything all the time. So, fast missile towers from everybody. It looks like they're just worried about fleas, as everyone is armed, and it looks like the only person who is sending one up there is Jorne, who wants to go harass with the flea. But that single missile tower should be able to handle that from Tristan as long as
Yeah.
it gets the
So
radar up.
again, it's sort of strange. All 4 players going ARM and all 4 players going K-bot lab. So everybody on an extremely similar start, and we'll have to see how these builds diverge. Certainly, they will diverge on a map like this where you have a ton of resources very quickly. The players are going to start making different choices about what factories they want to build, like if they want to go air or vehicles or T2 or whatever the case may be. But as for now, the game pretty even and only blue with a single flea, and it seems like he's only using this flea sort of a scouting. Oh, now he's sending it in.
Yeah,
Let's see what he
it's
can
been
do.
picked up. You can see the missile towers tracking it.
Yeah.
So
That
here
will
we go.
die.
Bottom. This is one thing that I found. Everyone's building starting with just 3 mexes. I actually find that interesting because I build more, and maybe that's why I lose here. Because metal ends
Yeah.
up not really being the resource that you need, that you run short of. Energy becomes a big draw. Um, you can see Meal
So Meal
Solutions is out
Solutions,
of
it looks
metal,
like
though.
he's going into the first vehicle plant of the game, and maps like these are very, very difficult, guys. You would think a metal map would be easy, right? Because it's like, well, resources aren't a problem. You know, I can just build as much as I want.
Yep,
You would
especially
think
one
that would
like
make it
this
easier.
where you're like, oh, all the metal's in a corner. All I have to do is defend that corner, and will have my metal
Yeah.
defended. But no, it's this map is so hard to play.
No, yeah, actually, it being a metal map actually makes it harder because, like, before on a normal map, you're limited by the amount of resources available to you. And so that kind of sets the pace of how quickly you can build. On a map like this, it's all down to knowing your ratios, building the perfect number of wind generators to metal, but also building the right number of defenses and the like military units. I mean, it's incredibly complex playing a map like this because there are so many choices you have to make, and playing it perfectly efficiently, like probably nobody does, right? Like
Oh no,
nobody can play this map with
that's just
perfect
not possible.
efficiency. Yeah.
And that's what you're saying is like, well, the resources aren't limited. What ends up being the limitation is you. You
Yeah.
are the limitation here.
That's a good point. Yeah,
You are
you're
too
the
slow to keep up.
limitation. You just there's no way to keep up with the amount of micro. Like
Hmm.
just looking at if you look at the player bases, look how many
This
cons they have. Look how many constructors, and you have to micro each one of these individually. I guess you can guard
And that's
some, but then they'll
that's
get
one of the ways you can optimize. You can see everyone's doing that where they're guarding. That's one of the ways you can
yeah,
optimize your time, rather than hooking
definitely.
out with
But that can still bite you because then they can get in front of each other and kind of
yeah.
screw up
It's
the
such a
build
pain.
path. And there's so many pitfalls to a map like this. Like it may look easy, but it's not. And it's also interesting that yellow and
Everyone's going
blue
fast
and
advance except for Meal Solutions, who
yeah,
is cranking out. He wants to attack.
yeah.
I like the aggression. Okay, he's working at his advance now, so because he's going the attack, he's going to be a little bit behind in the advanced race, but he's going to be able to start putting some pressure down on the south side of the map.
Yeah. And it's not clear to me that what everyone's doing here is the right call because if if any player had just say built 3 or 4 vehicle plants and just start pumping out
They wouldn't
flashes,
quite have enough at this point yet to do any serious damage. You can see there's a decent number of missile towers out, and if you've built your radar up, you'll know and you'll see stuff coming in, and
right?
oh, it's time to switch to units. But you can see with how fast the advances are up, even a pack of flashes can go down to warriors pretty quick. So
Oh, that's
it's
true.
really
Yeah,
really hard to get
warriors
the
are very good
timing.
at killing flashes. So maybe it is the wrong call.
I think it was
But I'm just curious if
Juan has
if
a
you'll-
particular build he was telling me about where he has a certain number of flashes that are almost overwhelming at a certain point.
yeah,
So you can play it right and you can win with these early attacks. So you can see all these exposed wins for
yeah.
Jorne here, and he doesn't have very many missile towers too. So this is actually ideal, swinging around in the bottom. The only downside is it looks like he's Control Z. So these reinforcements that are coming in, they're going to run into some missile tower defenses.
Yeah. And
There
that's
you go.
tough too, guys.
He's
It's
getting the
tough.
cons.
Control Z is a very nice tool to just select all of one unit, but the convenience does get you into trouble sometimes because then it sort of messes up your micromanagement.
On this
a
map,
little
I
bit.
think you kind of have to, just because it's as a time-saving thing. You can see
Yeah.
he's trying to clear some of these missile towers there that are getting in his way, but I really like this energy rating. It looks like Jorne may end up needing some family-friendly wins sent his way.
Yeah, so I definitely think I like Meal Solutions' choice to go one vehicle plant, but I'm just curious if instead of going T2, if he just kept building more vehicle plants and he had like 5 of them now, all producing flashes, if he could have just overwhelmed Blue. I mean, obviously Blue would still be making warriors, but like if you have 5 vehicle plants pumping out flashes, can you eventually just overwhelm, even these missile towers. I mean, what do you think?
I think, yeah, you certainly can. And I think that's what Lon was talking about when he was basically theory crafting. That basically you start with the one, but you're going to be, you get as many as you can. You can see there's another tournament game, I believe I casted it, was with Executrix against Team Sergeant Spag, where he went the big flash route. And you could see the amount of damage that could be done, especially if you were able to get in.
Did he end up winning that?
He did not, though. And
okay.
that was because he didn't have the follow up with the build. Meal, on the other hand, does. He's got a nice build going here. We can take a look at the totals. Knob is just way ahead, though, and then in part because he's just been not attacked at all. Teams are somewhat even, other than the fact that Knob is huge, and he's got his mohos going, so his metal production is through the roof, and he's spending it too.
One thing that's interesting is I don't see Mavericks as much in Pro TA. In fact, I don't know if I've ever seen a Maverick in any of the games I've casted. What situation would you build Mavericks in Pro TA instead of like the Warrior or the Zeus or the Sniper or any other? What is the situation where
I think
Mavericks would
players
make an
are still kind of discovering the meta around Mavericks.
Okay.
I've seen them mixed in with Warriors to great effect, as long as there's something to kind of take some damage for them, because they dish out damage. They do a ridiculous amount of damage. So they're also great at chasing down and killing comms. So if you can. Early Big Bertha here from Mr. Family Friendly.
That is insane. A 9-minute Bertha, he's working on it. So that's a choice. That's a decision. We'll see how it pans out.
And if he's got the resources, the thing is and yeah, he's able to defend against these flashes here. Tristan cranking out tons of and Tristan's definitely ahead of Jorne. Meal's rating certainly helped out with that. Jorne's struggling in the energy department, and so is Mr. Family Friendly. Although he's got two geos down. Meal's got his 2 geos down. Tristan is he's got 1 geo up. So even with Jorne. But
so do you think the reason that everyone went ARM here was because of the Farks? I mean, Farks on this map just seem extremely useful in, supplementing your build power, allowing you to use all these resources. I mean, do you think that's the main?
I'd have to ask the players. That's certainly something to consider. Farks are great. You can see how Jorne here on the bottom right, he's boxed in a bunch of Farks right between the factories so that he can continuously hose out units without them ever getting in the way.
Yeah, the build power is extremely important in Pro TA, and I think some of the casts I did with Breezy, we talked about this, that like one of the biggest differences between an average player and a great player is just thinking of build power as the hidden third resource. It's like, oh, I've got metal and energy. It's like, no, you also have build power. Like, it doesn't appear on the screen as a resource, but by God, is it a resource?
Well, it's actually your hidden fourth resource, because the third resource is time.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. So how is time a resource?
That's one resource that everyone gets the same amount of, and you need to use it better than other people.
Okay, yeah, that's an interesting thing or way to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So having that build power with all the farts is really huge, and it's interesting to see that all 4 players have gone into that, and it wasn't obvious that would be the case.
Yep. Mealsolutions' first little raid here, pushed back easily by Knob, who's had plenty of time to get massive. He's got his first fusion up. Meal does have it marked, but I don't think he's got anything planned to deal with it. So awfully silent, not a lot of gunfire, considering we are nearly 12 minutes into this game.
Yeah, and this Bertha is about 2/3 of the way done. From what I can see, and so once that gets finished, he can start shelling Teal's base in a similar fashion to our last game, and that's going to be a problem. And of course, he can just keep building more and more of them. It seems like he's defending himself really well. He's got plenty of warriors.
Turn your eyes up north, though, and you'll see that Mr. Mealsolutions has the solution for the Bertha himself. He's working on one of his own.
Oh, okay, so that is the solution. That's an option to just build your own Bertha. we'll have to see how this plays
massive
out.
force of warriors coming up from Jorne on the south side here. That is a lot. Zeus crush warriors. Warriors have the mobility though, and that is more warriors than these Zeus are ready to handle. So I think that this attack is pretty bad for Tristan, unless he can get enough Zeus over there to protect himself from this. Because the thing is, yeah, the mobility of the Zeus is just not enough. He does not have enough on that right side. He's got 3 heavy laser towers.
Now, are the Zeus's faster in terms of their move speed?
No, they're very, very slow. The warriors are
okay. So the warriors
faster,
are
yeah.
the more
You got to
mobile.
think of Zeus. They're kind of like the arm can. Big
Okay.
warrior pushed by Knob up the middle here, and that is going to essentially stop Mealsolutions from bailing Tristan out of this brutal attack.
And a
nice
bombing run, too,
there
at the
by
north.
Jorne. Oh my goodness! And no air
Very
defense in
good
the back. He is off screening though, so there's really not a way for him to get him. But without any air defense, oof, he's gonna have basically free reign on these fusions too. And the warriors come crashing in. This is very, very unfortunate for Tristan. Nicely done by Jorne. I actually didn't even see that he had rushed out his advanced air. And he is going to get the fusions too and turn things handily in his favor. Even though Tristan was ahead in building, Jorne turned to units a little faster. See, the lasers now not shooting at their full speed because there's just not enough resources to do it. Tristan, ton of Zeus. Bombing here continues by Jorne, taking out the metal of Mealsolutions too.
Yeah, that was a critical mass of warriors, and it just seemed like Tristan might have had the number of Zeuses to stop them, but they just weren't in the right place at the right time. You know, they just weren't in position to.
He has a massive number of Zeus now, so counterattacking I think is the right move here. The question is, Jorne being ahead as he is, what's that going to do? And Knob's got a pair of Berthas up. Mealsolutions, his own Bertha has been smoked. He's not working on the next one.
Yeah, but it's going to be tough, you know, because this Bertha will be on the lookout for anything that Teal can build to try to get back into the game. But I think all the action now is on the right side as these Zeus move down, and perhaps he can do enough damage in this counterattack. But I don't know because he doesn't have any
enough
air defense.
Yeah, and he's getting absolutely smoked. His commander's just standing there.
A tough situation to be in.
Yeah, this is the right move though. If you're in Tristan's situation, you have a gazillion Zeus, you send them down there. He's working on a fusion. He needs to get some flak and missile towers back there too while he's at it. Bertha shells flying in on Mealsolutions at this point. 2 Berthas up and operational.
Yeah, and I don't think these Zeus are going to be enough because there's no air defense here. And with the bombers and the sentinels,
you can see the Zeus are actually shooting down some of the bombers. But that's, I don't know. This is getting interesting. Tristan does need to. He needs to be able to recover from those bombers, and it's just hard because they're going to keep bombing. You can see we have family-friendly bombers in white, and there you go. You can see Mr. Knob swinging over to the right, trying to block off the reinforcements of Zeus to keep Jorne in the fight. That's going to give Mealsolutions a bit of a breather, but Mealsolutions fresh Big Bertha cannon going to go down on the left side. Team TFA just one step ahead. The Zeus are found the soft underbelly of Jorne on the right, but with Knob cutting off the reinforcements, I think that this Zeus attack is only going to get a handful of mexes for its trouble.
No, I agree with you. I think the Zeus, you know, almost doing it, but with white sending in the reinforcements, you know, sending in the warriors to stop yellow from continuing that push, and with his air control from blue, this is a very dire situation. Now, Mealsolutions is moving down the left with a small group of warriors, but I don't think it's going to be enough to really...
Yeah, with those... with the bombers there, just doing a decent job. More Berthas up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big Berthas up. We are only 17 minutes into the game, and that is a lot of cannons. Mealsolutions seems to have stopped trying to build Berthas himself, and he does not. He's building bombers though, so he's working on a solution. At this point, Tristan's commander is now under fire.
Yeah, Tristan's commander is exposed, and he's not really using it to D-gun. I'd like to see him move it to the right and try to get some D-guns, but...
It's probably tough to keep up with everything. He's trying to keep his fusions alive. You can see he's got his Sparks repairing them on the north side. Quickly threw down a flak.
So his commander will stay alive for now, but he's going to lose some of his eco here with those warriors moving to the right.
At this point, and you can see Mealsolutions has lost just about all of his metal, and that's what Knob has been training his Bertha cannons on. Just the guns shooting off in unison down here.
And more bombers coming in, taking out Tristan's fusions, and there's not enough air defense, and the northern team just kind of slowly crumbling. And not really able to hold on, because even though their bases are still intact, the infrastructure has been destroyed. The economy mostly is gone, and so it may look like a somewhat even game, but it is actually very one-sided now.
Territory-wise, looks relatively even, but it is. Yeah. At this point, the south team, Team TFA, has a hefty lead, looking to sweep the series at this point. They need to protect the commanders, and it looks like Jorne is not. But the family-friendly commander is nowhere to be found. So,
yeah, and Mealsolutions commander will go down there.
Oh, I missed it, but that must have been the Bertha shots, or is it the bombers?
There was bombers flying over him, and a couple Bertha shots hit him.
He got bombed, and that was the end of it. So now it's just Tristan. You can see his commanders marching forward.
And more bombers flying in.
He's flying in. Tristan marching forward with his commander to go into glorious battle. Yeah, he has a fusion, so he can de-gun. Let's see if he does it.
Oh, now he's getting bombed.
He's getting bombed. There come the Bertha shells. He's just dodging like the Matrix.
But yeah, with all these bombers, it's only a matter of time.
Down he goes. Victory to Team TFA.